In this video, we'll see the summary that what we have learned in this CSS video series, and also we'll discuss about what will be the next course that we are going to discuss. So at first, let's see the summary. We have discussed about the introduction to CSS, where I have discussed about the what is CSS and why we need the CSS. As you know that now the CSS is used to just style the HTML document, right? After that, we have discussed about the CSS syntax. I'm not including all the topics here. I'm just talking about the overall topic that we have discussed in this CSS video series. And after that, we have discussed about the how to add CSS in HTML. As you know that we can add the CSS in HTML in three ways by using the inline CSS, internal CSS, and then the external CSS. And we have seen all the example how we can add the CSS in HTML. After that, we have talked about the CSS selectors. It means especially we have discussed about the ID selector, class selectors, and then the element selector. After that, also we discussed about the comments, that we can use the Control K and the C to shortcut to make the comment. And comment is used to just represent it for the documentation purpose or just to not execute our code, right? After that, color in CSS, we have discussed about the RGB color, RGBA color, HSA color, like high situation, alpha value. And then also we have discussed about the many X color, okay, in the color code. After that, we have discussed about the CSS background. Inside the CSS background, we have discussed about background image, background color, background position, and many more about background things, okay. After that, we have talked about the border. It means how we can give the border to our HTML element in the different border like dashed border, dotted border. And also we have specified the width of that border and then the color of that border. After that, we have talked about the box model. And now, as you know that every HTML element is just like the box model. Like we can make the box. It means every HTML element we can provide the padding and then the margin. Okay, that is we have talked about the content, padding, and then the margin concept in CSS. After that, we have talked about the text, like the text color, and then we have specified the different like the font style, font size, and the font weight, font variant, and many more things in the text CSS text. And also we have talked about the line gap, and also the we have talked about like the space, the or gap, and then the line gap, and many more things about the CSS text. After that, we have talked about the CSS units. Especially, there are two types of CSS unit. One is the absolute unit, and another one is the relative unit. We have talked about the EM, REM, pixel, percentage, PT, and then the such types of units in CSS. After that, we also talked about the cursor, like if you want to change this normal concept into the copy cursor, move cursor, and many more things about the cursor. After that, also we have seen the opacity. It means it is used to represent how much transparent object we need. Okay, we can increase or decrease the transparency of an HTML element. After that, we have talked about the filter property. We can increase or decrease the contrast and many more things. And the overflow property, if our content is not adjusted in a predefined area, then we can use the overflow, like overflow auto property or overflow score property in a horizontal or in a vertical way. After that, we have talked about the resizable. We will get the resizable. It means we can drag and drop our content area by just pressing on the mouse. So this is all about the resizable. And also we have talked about the list. There are especially order list and the unordered list. And also we can style list style type. Using the list style type property, we can style our list in a very different way. We have talked about this in a very much detail. You can watch all this video in a CSS playlist. After that, we have talked about the table. It means that the concept of table is the rows and the columns. And also we have talked about how we can make the rows, how we can make the column. We have talked about the TR tag, TD tag, and the TS tag. Also, we have talked about the function. If you see any parentheses in CSS, that is the function. Like the URL is one function, like RGB, HSL are these examples of the functions. And also we have talked about the initial and inherit property. Initial is the default property value, and inherit is just it inherits the property from its parent element. And pseudo class we use to single colon, like we have talked about the link in CSS using the anchor tag. That is example of pseudo class. And also the other examples also I have shown you other examples also. You can watch that video also. And pseudo elements, it means we can give the double colon, like the starting line, how we can change the specific part of the CSS, okay, part of our web page. And also we have talked about the display property, like the one is the block level and another one is the inline. Another one is position. We have talked about the static, relative, absolute, and then the fixed position. After that, float and clear property, like the float left, float right property, and the clear property. So we have talked detail about it. 2D transform, like the translation, rotation, and many more. 3D transform. Also, we have talked about the same property in the value by using the translate 3D function. We just have created the 3D at last. And then the transition, like the transition delay function, transition time, and many more things. And also the animation, we have created the keyframes and we have used the animations. And also print style, we can change the document during the printing time and then the normal screen size, screen time, okay. And we have talked about the responsive web design. Responsive web design means simply if you are making any website and that is compatible with all the device, that is the laptop, desktop, mobile, and different types of mobile phone, okay. And if that website is compatible with all the device, then that your website is compatible, and you can control it through the viewport and meta tag and also the media query. We can define the specific weight and we can control it by using the media query. And also we have talked about the advanced selector, like the descendant selectors, direct child selectors, sibling selectors, general sibling selectors, and many more, like and also the absolute selectors. These are the example of the advanced selectors. And also we have talked about the specificity. It defines the which selectors will get the first priority. It means that at first always important will get first priority. After the important, inline CSS will get first priority. After that, the ID selector will get first priority, and then the class selector and the pseudo class selector and then the element selector and pseudo element selector and then the universal selector will get the last priority, okay. After that, we have talked about the multiple column. We can simply use the multiple column count property to add the multiple column. And also we have talked about the flexbox, which is used to design the responsive layout, okay. There is a concepts of like the rows and column concepts. And last one is the create in CSS, which is also used to design the responsive layout. You can say it is the advanced version of Flex, okay, because we can use the two-dimensional way to design the responsive layout in a CSS. This is all about the CSS video series, and we have talked about the many more topics in CSS. I think you are enjoying this course. You are enjoying this course a lot. If you get any confusion regarding this course, you can ask me in the comment sections. After this video series, we are going to make another video series of the Bootstrap. And if you talk about the Bootstrap, this is simply the CSS framework, and we'll talk detail about the Bootstrap. We can use we can make the website without using the CSS. And we can also not only you can make our website using the Bootstrap, we can also make our website responsive. We'll discuss about detail about the Bootstrap in Bootstrap video series. This course is gonna be one of the important and one of the interesting course gonna be near. So you can, if you are new to this channel, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe this channel. Thank you so very much.